February 12th, 2026. Meghan Markle has just sparked a massive legal storm after filing an explosive new claim to take full ownership of Wrenbrook Hill, a 72-acre luxury estate tucked in the Cotswolds. This property was originally set aside for Prince Harry by Queen Elizabeth II before 2021, but Meghan's bold legal move, described by royal legal insiders as a sharp attempt to weaponize legacy, has shaken Buckingham Palace to its core. This filing dropped only 72 hours after the palace's bombshell announcement stripped the Sussex family of every last royal title, privilege, and legal right connected to the crown. The claim, submitted precisely at 9:14 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time by Meghan's powerhouse lawyer, celebrity attorney Sherry Tilden, was officially registered with both the UK Crown Property Commission and the California Superior Court under the Windsor, California Reciprocity Accord. In the official filing, Meghan's team alleges that Wrenbrook Hill, though still under Crown Trust, had been personally promised by the late Queen Elizabeth II as a marital residence and future inheritance for Prince Harry and his family. Tilden's firm statement read loud and clear: "My client intends to exercise her lawful and equitable interest in the estate known as Wrenbrook Hill. It was promised as a family legacy, not an instrument of punishment in divorce proceedings." That line alone sent royal watchers into a frenzy. This shocking twist threatens to rip open old wounds, not just between Harry and the rest of the Windsors, but deep within the monarchy's core institution itself. Wrenbrook Hill isn't just some countryside getaway. It's a heritage treasure. The estate forms part of the prestigious Highgrove estate complex and includes a Grade II listed Georgian manor, a royal-funded equestrian centre, and lush vineyards. A 2025 valuation tagged the property at a staggering £19.6 million, marking it as one of the most sought-after royal holdings outside of Balmoral and Sandringham. Less than 3 hours after Meghan's bombshell legal filing hit the public eye, Buckingham Palace snapped back with a rare midday statement straight from the Royal Legal Secretary's office, completely shutting her down. The message was crystal clear. No formal or informal commitment was ever made to transfer Wrenbrook Hill, or any portion of it, to the Duchess of Sussex. The declaration went on to confirm that the estate remains firmly under the royal estate's control as a Class A Crown Trust asset, bound by direct sovereign authority. Sir Lark Mansfield, the royal legal advisor, didn't mince words either. He elaborated that any verbal assurances given before 2021 became void once Meghan and Harry walked away from royal duties in January 2020 and were officially extinguished by the secretive Sovereign Property Charter updated in March 2023, away from public scrutiny. That revelation alone has the press in a frenzy. Behind palace walls, royal aides reportedly see Meghan's latest legal stunt as a bold provocation, an intentional play to reignite talks about custody, finances, and even brand rights. Some insiders warn that this risky gamble could blow up in her face, while legal experts whisper that Meghan's true goal isn't just about owning land. It's about shaking the palace's foundation by challenging the royal guardianship rulings made just days ago. In what appears to be a high-stakes chess move, Meghan may be angling to establish herself as a co-beneficiary of royal family assets, directly pushing back against the guardianship powers currently held by Princess Anne, Prince William, and Princess Catherine under the 2026 protocol. Documents obtained by the London Sentinel reveal that her legal team subtly hinted at a link between property ownership and fitness for guardianship, implying that Meghan's ability to provide a royal standard residence could potentially outweigh the current custodial setup if re-examined by US courts outside the reach of royal decree. Within the palace, this argument is seen as nothing short of dangerous. One royal insider reportedly stated, "She's not asking for a home, she's trying to requalify herself as part of the royal apparatus by proxy." That single quote has royal watchers on edge, but the palace wasn't the only one ready to fire back. Just hours after Meghan's dramatic legal filing hit the headlines, the California Superior Court's Family Division jumped into action, delivering a sharp preliminary ruling that threw a wrench in her case. The court declared that Meghan's push to claim sovereign property rights couldn't be used in any child custody matters unless the claim was formally recognised by both the UK Privy Council and His Majesty's Diplomatic Property Register. That's a huge legal wall for Meghan to climb. Dr. Henrietta Coombs, a respected legal scholar known for her work on cross-border family disputes, weighed in quickly. She explained that the California court's message was crystal clear. Royal property claims do not automatically translate into parental competence. This insight hits right at the heart of Meghan's strategy, stripping away any notion that owning or even claiming a royal estate could make her appear more legitimate in the eyes of the monarchy or the courts. Renbrook Hill, originally part of the Highgrove West sector, holds deep royal history. A 2020 sealed letter from Queen Elizabeth II herself designated the estate to be reserved for future royal lineage planning, with Prince Henry Charles Albert David, Prince Harry, listed as the preliminary trustee. But that plan was never made official once Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties in January 2020. Since then, Renbrook Hill has remained dormant under the Duchy of Cornwall's oversight, occasionally used by senior royals for quiet hunting retreats, most recently during the 2025 season. In a fascinating twist, Princess Anne was said to have proposed reassigning Renbrook Hill to Lady Louise Windsor as part of the Sovereign Youth Development Charter. Yet no formal reassignment ever went through before Meghan's legal bombshell dropped. Then came an even more shocking turn. Lady Sarah Chatto, Duchess Sophie and Viscount Severn broke royal silence with a joint public statement from Sandringham, something almost unheard of in modern royal history. Their powerful words echoed across media outlets worldwide. What began as a request for autonomy has now become a sustained campaign of institutional provocation. The Sussex brand is no longer a symbol of personal freedom. It's a weapon. And the ones caught in the crossfire are the children. That's the explosive statement coming from royal insiders tonight as the palace moves to tighten its grip on every remaining legal tie between Meghan Markle and the House of Windsor. Sources confirm that a supplemental legal directive is already being drafted that would permanently ban Meghan from using the Windsor name in any legal filing, property claim, or media appearance, unless she has written permission straight from the Crown itself. This new maneuver marks what palace aides are calling the start of the post-Sussex purge, a total legal, financial and reputational freeze-out of Meghan Markle from anything connected to royal infrastructure. If Meghan's February 12th filing over Renbrook Hill was an attempt to reopen negotiation doors, the monarchy has made sure those doors are now slammed, bolted and sealed shut. Within just 24 hours of her legal strike, the royal household not only threw out her estate claim but launched a full-scale financial audit of all assets either jointly owned or co-financed during her marriage to Prince Harry. This audit cites provisions buried deep in the 2020 royal matrimonial contract, a document once dismissed as purely ceremonial, but now serving as the foundation of Harry's quiet legal counter-offensive. Royal accountants, under the direct oversight of Princess Anne's Office for Sovereign Integrity, released a detailed breakdown that's jaw-dropping in scope. It lists Montecito Mansion, valued at $14.2 million. Tyler Perry's estate, 2020, leased under Archewell accounts. Vehicles, 2 Rolls-Royce Phantoms leased through Archewell, plus a Range Rover autobiography gifted by King Charles in 2019. Liquid holdings, approximately $4.7 million in cash and conservative investments. Media and equity stakes, 33% ownership in Archewell Media under Meghan's name, and 16% in Archewell Audio following the Spotify exit. Outstanding debts, over $2.3 million tied to wardrobe, PR ventures and luxury travel campaigns from 2023 to 2025. Meghan's legal team immediately fired back, demanding a 50-50 split of all US-based marital assets, citing California's community property law. But the palace isn't budging. Their legal argument? Many of those assets were sovereign gifts or trust-linked holdings, connected directly to Harry's royal standing, not standard marital property. This brewing financial war is now more than just about money. It's about power, legacy, and control of the Sussex narrative. Every move from here on out could reshape how the world sees the once united royal renegades. "She cannot both reject the crown and claim its privileges," declared Sir Alec Mansfield, his words slicing through the media chaos like a royal decree. "The monarchy is not a vending machine of wealth for a former duchess." That fiery statement came just as Meghan Markle filed a fresh motion in California's family law court, this time demanding $215,000 per month in alimony for 5 years. Meghan cited her career sacrifices and the damage to her public image caused by what she called the royal institutional machine. But Prince Harry's legal team, led by attorney Miles Armitage, wasn't about to let that slide. They hit back hard with a devastating dossier that left courtroom observers stunned. Inside the documents was a waiver Meghan herself had signed in July 2020, relinquishing any future right to royal subsidies in exchange for complete freedom over her branding and media ventures. On top of that, Armitage's team presented records of unreported income from Meghan's 2023 Dubai speaking tour and private sponsorships, reportedly totaling a jaw-dropping $6.1 million. In his supplemental statement, Armitage didn't hold back, writing, "You cannot claim victimhood while profiting from the platform. Alimony is for caretakers, not entrepreneurs in heels." That quote alone sent tabloids and royal commentators into overdrive. The same court filing also revealed Meghan's move to slash Harry's proposed child support, rejecting his offer of $68,000 a month to cover full educational, medical and living costs for Archie and Lilibet. Instead, Meghan countered with a $22,000 monthly proposal demanding strict invoice proof for every single expense. She also pushed for no extra allowances for extracurriculars unless pre-approved and non-Windsor branded. Even more shocking, she requested full control over the children's digital image rights, including any future social media content and potential publishing deals. That last demand set off massive backlash. The Royal Child Welfare Committee immediately raised alarms, calling the move deeply inappropriate. Within hours, the palace reacted with an emergency clause, effective immediately, stating that no commercial use of Archie or Lilibet's names or likeness could move forward without dual consent from both the Crown and Prince Harry himself. The decision added even more fuel to an already explosive family standoff, pushing the Sussex split into uncharted territory. Royal investigators have unearthed something explosive, a sealed Project Emancipation brand deck dated May 2025, straight from Meghan Markle's own team. The confidential presentation reportedly outlined a full-scale plan to rebuild and monetize her image as a post-royal, post-maternal figure in the booming global wellness industry. What shocked insiders most was one key clause. Meghan's children were explicitly excluded from any public branding imagery. This revelation directly contradicts her current legal argument that she sacrificed her career to prioritize family life. The public reaction was instant and fierce. A flash poll conducted by the Daily Mirror on February 14th sent a clear message. 74% of UK respondents opposed Meghan's estate claim. 61% of Americans said she shouldn't receive alimony, and a staggering 82% supported Harry retaining primary custody under institutional oversight. The numbers were brutal, and the ripple effect was immediate. Within 2 days, major brands and media outlets began to quietly distance themselves. Vogue Arabia, which had been preparing a glossy Mother Mogul Monarch cover, suddenly pulled the feature. Chanel discreetly revoked Meghan's invitation to Paris Fashion Week, and Netflix executives hit pause on all in-development Sussex-related projects, citing contractual instability and reputational risk. The Hollywood partnerships that once built her empire were now crumbling before her eyes. And then came the most unexpected voice, Princess Catherine. In a soft but powerful televised statement from Windsor, she said, "Children are not branding tools. They are not passports to power. They deserve privacy, protection, and peace." Her tone was calm, but the implication was unmistakable. Everyone knew exactly who she was talking about. The royal silence had finally been broken, and it hit harder than any courtroom filing. By that point, the feud between Prince Harry and Meghan had reached a dangerous new phase, the stage of personal destruction. Meghan was now cut off from royal protection, facing severe financial audits, and her property claim over Renbrook Hill had been flatly denied. Yet, instead of retreating, she struck back with what palace insiders are now calling her final gambit. In a shocking twist, Meghan's legal team filed a sealed declaration in Santa Barbara's family law court, accusing Prince Harry of historical patterns of emotional volatility. The confidential filing reportedly aims to dismantle Harry's custodial credibility piece by piece, a last-ditch attempt to turn the tide of the public and legal battle that has now consumed the entire Sussex legacy. The latest twist in this royal saga hit like a thunderclap. Meghan Markle's 32-page sealed document, obtained exclusively by the Daily Record, makes shocking claims of alcohol dependency and coercive behavior during her marriage to Prince Harry. The filing includes a psychiatric evaluation dated February 2021, allegedly identifying symptoms of untreated PTSD and anger management struggles. It also references 2 emergency therapy session summaries from 2022, which Meghan claims were triggered by Harry's verbal outbursts, reportedly witnessed by members of their household staff. The document doesn't stop there. It even features a statement from an unnamed security consultant, alleging that in May 2023, Harry threw a mobile phone against a wall during an argument about Archie's school transfer. None of these accusations have been independently verified, but Meghan's legal team is pushing for the immediate suspension of Harry's custodial authority until a court-appointed psychologist completes a full evaluation. The stakes have never been higher. Buckingham Palace responded within hours through the Royal Household Legal Office, issuing a strongly worded rebuttal. The statement confirmed that Prince Harry had completed a 12-week therapy program in 2021 at the Royal Veterans Mental Wellness Clinic, successfully passed all family counselling reviews under the 2024 Royal Reconciliation Framework, and, under Princess Anne's direct oversight, maintained a spotless record of supervised parental conduct since December 2025. Harry's legal counsel, Miles Armitage, hit back fiercely, accusing Meghan's team of weaponized desperation cloaked in concern. In his counterstatement, he emphasized, "The Crown does not assign custodial authority lightly. These are not emotional endorsements. They are legal designations grounded in behavior, stability, and consistency." The message was loud and clear. The palace wasn't about to let Meghan's new narrative take hold without a fight. To further reinforce their position, Harry's lawyers submitted a counter-declaration backed by audio recordings from 3 independent child welfare mediators who had overseen Harry's video parenting sessions with Archie and Lilibet between November 2025 and January 2026. Each mediator reportedly attested to Harry's calm demeanour, active participation, and positive engagement with his children throughout every session. The courtroom now stands divided, the world watching as one of the most high-profile custody battles in modern royal history takes an even darker, more personal turn. Court evaluators praised Prince Harry's emotional attentiveness and his willingness to defer to professional guidance, but Meghan wasn't backing down. In a bold counterstrike, she filed an appeal for jurisdictional review with the Court of International Family Law Cooperation, setting off yet another legal firestorm. Her argument: that the royal guardianship protocols cannot override the rights of a biological mother under US federal law. Meghan's legal team leaned heavily on American precedents supporting maternal preference in early childhood custody rulings, while also attacking the very foundation of royal influence in modern law. They argued that foreign ceremonial titles hold no legal weight in California courts, and claimed that inherited royal power structures had coercively shaped the custody process to favour institutional control over family welfare. The move painted Meghan as a mother fighting against a system stacked against her. In a fiery press statement, her attorney Sherry Tilden declared, "This is not about royalty. This is about a mother protecting her children from systemic erasure and psychological manipulation." The quote spread across global headlines within hours, but so did the palace's retaliation. The royal household swiftly released a bombshell of its own, a signed 2020 Sussex marital compact, an official document proving that both Harry and Meghan had agreed to custodial oversight by the Crown in any event of international relocation or marital separation. This agreement, drafted by the late Queen's legal secretary and co-signed by the Foreign Office's Sovereign Family Liaison Unit, undercut Meghan's appeal in devastating fashion. Legal analysts quickly weighed in, confirming that the compact, though rare, was completely enforceable under dual sovereignty statutes, specifically referencing the Royal Heirs Treaty of 2017, which was reaffirmed in post-Brexit legal accords. In other words, Meghan's appeal had little chance of surviving the cross-border legal maze she was now trapped in. The fallout was immediate and brutal. According to a YouGov Global survey, only 21% of UK respondents believed Meghan should regain even partial custody. In the US, 57% of women aged 25 to 44 agreed with the statement, "She's using the children to retaliate against the monarchy." Meanwhile, 41% of Canadians said they were disappointed by her attempt to override international agreements through public opinion and media pressure. By now, Meghan's public image wasn't just bruised, it was bleeding. The once globally admired Duchess had become a lightning rod for division, standing alone against the institution she once claimed to have escaped. While Meghan's legal war raged on across courtrooms and headlines, Prince William broke his silence in the most unexpected way, through quiet action, not words. He paid a discreet visit to the Royal Paediatric Trust in Windsor, where he personally met with the therapists, educators and security staff overseeing Archie and Lilibet's welfare. One palace aide leaked his calm yet pointed remark to the Times. "We don't need headlines, we need peace, and we'll give them that, even if she won't." The quote rippled through Britain like a royal mic drop, drawing admiration from supporters and sympathy from critics alike. Behind the scenes, however, tensions were boiling over. A confidential memo leaked to The Observer revealed Meghan's final settlement demands, and they were explosive. According to the document, Meghan sought 50% of Archewell's residual value, including pending production revenue from 2021 to 2025, full ownership of all joint image rights for Archie and Lilibet, a one-time estate transfer equivalent to Renbrook Hill's £19.6 million valuation, a formal apology and acknowledgement from the palace for alleged emotional mistreatment during her royal tenure. But the response from Buckingham Palace was swift and absolute. Every demand was rejected without negotiation. Insiders say the monarchy, known for its slow and calculated pace, moved this time with unprecedented urgency. The reason wasn't just Meghan's ongoing court battles or her aggressive property claim, it was something far more explosive. Her threat to weaponize digital identity by asserting control over the children's image rights and claiming joint brand assets in the public domain. In response, the royal household shifted into full crisis containment mode. Internal sources confirmed the activation of what they've dubbed the Windsor Firewall, a coordinated digital lockdown operation designed to neutralize Meghan's influence, protect the heirs, and reassert royal institutional control. The plan targeted every facet of the Sussex brand, from content archives to online licensing rights. At exactly 6:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the Royal Office of Digital Ethics, in partnership with the Privy Council's Communications Division, issued a classified directive to over 22 major platform partners, including YouTube, Instagram, Meta, Spotify, and Netflix. The order demanded the immediate removal or reclassification of all Sussex-branded content hosted on Crown-affiliated archives. Within hours, key videos, documentaries, and branded projects began vanishing from royal-linked platforms, marking the beginning of what one insider called a digital erasure operation. Meghan Markle wasn't just being cut off, she was being systematically erased from the royal ecosystem itself. The Windsor Firewall went into overdrive overnight. The first measure, an immediate disassociation of the royal children's names and images from any unauthorized digital use, hit like a thunderclap across global media. All online references to Archie and Lilibet were locked down, their photos scrubbed, and their likenesses removed from non-approved platforms. The directive also ordered a freeze on algorithmic amplification of Archewell-linked legacy content still indexed under royal hashtags like #RoyalChildren, #Duke and Duchess, and #SussexHeirs. The palace justified the sweeping action under Article 9 of the Sovereign Identity Preservation Act, passed in 2023 after Queen Elizabeth II's death. The rarely invoked clause grants the Crown Emergency Authority to shield minor heirs from non-consensual commercial exposure, a move legal analysts described as the digital equivalent of locking the palace gates. By noon, the effect was visible everywhere. Over 380 pieces of Sussex-related content had been flagged, restricted or demonetized across major platforms. Once prominent videos, interviews and lifestyle clips began quietly disappearing from search algorithms, wiping years of royal-era imagery from public access. For the first time, the once dominant Sussex brand was being digitally buried in real time. At the same moment, the UK Charities Commission, working alongside the Royal Financial Integrity Council, dropped another bombshell: formal dissolution proceedings against the Archewell Foundation. The official statement cited multiple violations of the Royal Charity Ethics Compact, 2021, including suspected misclassification of foreign income tied to Meghan's 2023 Dubai wellness tour and irregular staff salary disbursements between 2022 and 2024. Meanwhile, the Archewell brand, once the Sussexes' golden post-royal empire, faced a multi-jurisdictional audit and asset freeze across two major trust funds as part of the expanding Royal Firewall Protocol. Meghan's email credentials, domain access and trademark filings were all transferred to the Crown's Digital Accountability Tribunal, now chaired by the no-nonsense Lord Julian Ashcroft. But the most emotionally charged battle wasn't about money or audits. It was about identity. Meghan's legal team filed a digital ownership motion demanding exclusive control of the joint Instagram handle at Archie L. Lilibet, which she claimed to have founded as a maternal narrative project for balance and authenticity. Palace sources described it as the breaking point, a symbolic clash over who truly owns the story of the next generation of royals. This latest move wasn't just legal, it was deeply personal, marking the moment Meghan and the monarchy turned their fight for legacy into a full-scale war for digital existence. Prince Harry's legal team broke their silence with one chillingly simple statement. "This is not a brand. These are children." That single line cut through the noise of lawyers, influencers, and royal commentators like a blade. Within hours, Meta's global legal division, acting in coordination with the Royal Communications Office, announced the indefinite suspension of the @Archie L. Lilibet account, citing conflicting ownership claims and active disputes involving minors and sovereign classification. As media outlets obsessed over digital takedowns and courtroom filings, something far more meaningful was unfolding behind palace walls. At Windsor, Lady Louise Windsor, now 22, had quietly been appointed by Princess Anne as royal youth liaison to the heirs of Sussex. It was a move few saw coming, but one that spoke volumes about the monarchy's long game. Louise, who had reportedly bonded with young Lilibet during their summer visits to Balmoral in 2023 and 2024, was granted private access to the secure royal educational compound where the children now live under Crown protection. Her assignment carried a simple but powerful mandate: ensure the children's exposure to royal traditions remains balanced, not ideological. Maintain emotional stability amid family transitions, shield them from digital contamination and public manipulation. She's not there to raise them, one palace insider clarified. She's there to anchor them, to make sure they don't drift into the shadow of this conflict. Witnesses later spotted Lady Louise arriving at the Royal Learning Centre in Sandringham, carrying a stack of children's books, art supplies and a copy of The Little Prince, reportedly Lilibet's favourite story. The image of Louise walking calmly through the courtyard became an instant viral photo, hailed as a moment of quiet grace in a week filled with chaos. Meanwhile, Princess Catherine made a subtle yet unmistakable public move of her own. During a scheduled visit to the Royal Digital Ethics Institute, she delivered a brief but powerful speech titled "Protecting Childhood in the Age of Exploitation." Though she never mentioned names, her message couldn't have been clearer. We live in an era where a child's likeness can become currency. That is not parenting, that is projection. And projection is not love. The audience, composed of cybersecurity specialists, educators, and child welfare advocates, rose to their feet in a rare standing ovation. It wasn't just applause. It was an endorsement of the message behind the words, a quiet acknowledgement that this royal conflict had gone far beyond palaces and press. It was now a fight over the soul of childhood itself. By evening, Kensington Palace made its move, not through a speech, but a single photograph that spoke louder than any statement could. The image showed Princess Catherine sitting under a large oak tree with Charlotte, George, and Louis, reading together in the soft afternoon light. No logos, no luxury labels, no branding, just calm simplicity. The caption under the official post read, "Let children be children." It went viral within minutes, earning millions of shares and heartfelt reactions worldwide. But across the Atlantic, Meghan Markle wasn't staying silent. That same night, her team distributed a voice memo to multiple media outlets. Her tone was defiant, even raw. "If they erase me, I'll expose them," she said. "I have emails, recordings, names. Don't push me out of my children's story." The clip dominated late-night broadcasts and social media feeds. But by then, the tide had already turned. Within hours, Spotify delisted all Sussex-related podcasts, wiping the entire catalogue. Netflix formally terminated the Sussex production deal, citing contractual disruption. And in a move that stunned the fashion world, Meghan's long-anticipated international cover was quietly replaced by none other than Princess Anne, dubbed the new face of leadership without noise. It was a symbolic dethroning, the end of one media era and the beginning of another. Meanwhile, far from the cameras and the chaos, two powerful courtrooms opened their doors: London's family division of the High Court and Santa Barbara's Superior Court, both operating under strict secrecy. Behind sealed curtains, judges and legal teams began the most consequential deliberations of the entire Sussex saga, the future custody of Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana. In London, the proceedings were presided over by Justice Rowena Blackstone, known across Britain for her razor-sharp constitutional interpretations and unshakable loyalty to legal precedent. In California, the gavel fell under Judge Everett Miles, a veteran of international custody cases and complex jurisdictional disputes. Though the two courts sat oceans apart, both were bound by the same legal web, the Windsor, California Reciprocal Protection Accord of 2024, a little-known but extremely powerful treaty designed to coordinate rulings on royal minors holding dual citizenship. At the top of both agendas lay one defining question: was the 2020 Sussex Marital Compact valid and enforceable? The same document that granted the Crown Emergency Guardianship Authority in cases of marital separation or international relocation now stood as the central pillar of a global legal showdown. For the first time, the future of the Sussex children wasn't just a family matter, it was a battle between nations, laws and legacies, waged behind closed doors while the world held its breath. The 2020 Sussex Marital Compact, once dismissed as a formality, had now become the battlefield's centerpiece. In her latest appeal, Meghan Markle sought to invalidate the agreement, alleging coercion, information asymmetry, and psychological pressure during its signing. On the other side, Prince Harry's petition pushed for the full transfer of guardianship to the Crown under the Royal Minor Protections Act of 2025. Two opposing forces, one treaty, and the fate of two royal children hanging in the balance. Court insiders later revealed that 4 pivotal witnesses gave private depositions that dramatically shifted the tone inside both the London and California hearings. First came Lady Geneva Hartley, the royal child welfare observer, who testified that Meghan had failed to comply with mandatory welfare check-ins since late 2025. Then, Dr. Angela DeLay, a respected child psychologist, submitted her report describing signs of emotional stress and behavioral confusion in young Lilibet during supervised interviews earlier that January. Next, Mr. Caleb Ryan, former operations officer for Archewell, dropped another bombshell, confirming that Meghan had routinely dismissed Harry's input in key decisions involving the children's schooling and media exposure. But the most heartbreaking moment came from Lady Louise Windsor, the children's royal liaison, who shared excerpts from her private journal. One entry revealed Lilibet's recurring question: "Why do I only see Mummy on camera?" That single line reportedly changed the room's entire energy, turning a cold legal dispute into a sobering reminder of 2 innocent lives caught between power and publicity. From that point, the emotional gravity began to outweigh the legal noise, even as Meghan's attorneys argued fiercely that royal compacts held no weight in US courts, that she had been misled into signing custodial waivers, and that Harry's loyalty to the monarchy made him unfit to act neutrally. The momentum was slipping fast. The palace's evidence was simply too solid. The marital compact had been verified and countersigned by Queen Elizabeth II's private secretary and 2 senior Foreign Office officials. Records showed Meghan had attended 3 out of 4 drafting sessions herself, and had even suggested minor revisions to certain clauses. One California court official, overheard outside chambers, reportedly quipped, "If this was coercion, it was highly organized and brilliantly documented, possibly by her own counsel." As both courts recessed to prepare their rulings, quiet whispers began circulating through the halls of Windsor and Westminster alike. Insiders suggested the final decision was imminent, a judgment that could permanently redraw the lines of royal parenthood, legacy and power. Royal insiders began whispering about the inevitable. The courts were leaning toward a dual sovereign guardianship. Under this structure, Prince Harry would retain partial legal parenthood but hand over custodial authority to a crown-appointed guardian. The frontrunners, Duchess Sophie or possibly Princess Catherine, both considered trusted stabilizers within the royal circle. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's parental rights and legal influence over the children were expected to be suspended indefinitely, pending a full review of her conduct, travel activity, and undisclosed financial records. When the final decision came, the royal family issued just one brief statement, its wording cold and calculated. "The matter of custody concerning the minor heirs of Henry Charles Albert David Windsor has been resolved through sovereign and international legal cooperation. No further comment will be issued." But behind that polished line, lay one of the most consequential rulings in modern royal history. After nearly a month of relentless legal warfare, filled with cross-continental filings, sealed testimonies, and institutional interventions, the High Court of London and Santa Barbara Superior Court delivered their judgments within hours of each other. The rulings weren't just synchronized, they were final. In California, Judge Everett Miles ruled that under the Windsor, California Sovereign Protection Accord and the 2020 Sussex Marital Compact, the Crown-appointed guardianship was legally valid and enforceable within U.S. jurisdiction. His written judgment stated clearly, "Given the cross-jurisdictional provisions and the sovereign framework agreed to by both parties, this court recognizes the Crown-appointed custodial structure as binding." Across the Atlantic, Justice Rowena Blackstone of the London High Court mirrored the tone and gravity of her counterpart's decision. Reading her verdict beneath the royal court seal, she declared, "Under the Royal Minor Protections Act, and in light of verifiable endangerment to minor privacy, the Crown shall assume direct custodial oversight in partnership with the biological father, Prince Henry. The mother, Meghan Markle, is hereby suspended from sole custodial decision-making for a term of 5 years, pending psychological evaluation and full compliance review." It was the judgment heard around the world, a verdict that stripped Meghan of her parental authority, effectively removing her influence over Archie and Lilibet until at least 2031. For the monarchy, it was the closing act of a long and bruising saga. For Meghan, it was the collapse of everything she had fought to protect. The ruling didn't just finalize custody. It sealed the end of the Sussex experiment in California, marking the quiet but undeniable return of royal control over the heirs of Windsor. The verdict was final and absolute: joint institutional custody between Prince Harry and the Crown. Under the ruling, Princess Catherine was appointed as the children's day-to-day educational and domestic guardian, while Duchess Sophie of Edinburgh would serve as liaison for external affairs and public engagements. Meghan Markle's parental access was drastically reduced, limited to one supervised video call per week with child welfare mediators and one in-person visit per quarter, to be held in a neutral UK-based facility, never on royal grounds. The court order left no room for interpretation. Meghan was stripped of all legal authority to enroll the children in schools, authorize media exposure, or approve travel. The official justification cited commercial endangerment and her consistent disregard for institutional custodial frameworks. It was the harshest ruling ever handed down against a former royal spouse in modern times. Then came a second blow, a rare session of the Court of Royal Titles and Privileges, an advisory council first established in 1831. In a historic and unanimous decision, the panel ruled that Meghan Markle is permanently barred from using any Windsor-associated designation in her commercial, philanthropic, or political ventures. That includes every variation of Duchess of Sussex, Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess, or any product, campaign, or publication referencing her children's royal lineage without prior written consent from the Crown. Simultaneously, the UK Charities Commission released the findings of its running investigation into the Archewell Foundation, concluding that it would be legally dissolved following evidence of financial misrepresentation, undeclared foreign lobbying, and brand misuse. The foundation's final reported balance, £1.7 million in unrestricted assets, was ordered to be redistributed to 2 children's welfare organisations personally selected by Princess Anne. The Sussexes' once celebrated post-royal brand had been officially dismantled, piece by piece. Meanwhile, as the world digested the news, Prince Harry was quietly seen departing from a private terminal at Heathrow. There were no cameras, no security entourage, just Harry in a black overcoat, carrying a plain canvas travel bag and a small Paddington Bear toy tucked under his arm. Instead of flying to Montecito, he travelled north to Wolverton Cottage, the newly designated transitional residence for Archie and Lilibet. Sources close to the family revealed that Harry spent the afternoon meeting with Princess Anne, going over the children's 2026 to 2027 education plans, and later joined Lady Louise Windsor, who had prepared a short film montage of Lilibet's time at Sandringham's Royal Youth Retreat. It was a rare, almost tender scene. Harry seated quietly in the drawing room of a royal estate, watching his daughter laugh on screen, far removed from paparazzi lenses and public turmoil. For the first time in years, he had spent a night within royal walls without tension, without conflict, and without scandal. And for those inside the palace, it felt like a quiet reset, A reminder that even after a storm this fierce, the monarchy always finds a way to restore its calm. One royal aide summed it up perfectly. This isn't a homecoming, it's a reckoning. After years of global spectacle, Prince Harry had chosen his side, his peace, and his path. Back in Britain, across the ocean, Meghan Markle was nowhere to be seen. Her last public appearance, at a quiet Brentwood cafe, was described by witnesses as drawn, distant, and disconnected. In the span of just a few weeks, everything had unraveled. Her Netflix production deal, officially cancelled. Her Spotify renewal clause, voided for non-delivery. Even her high-profile fashion partnership with Dior had been quietly terminated. At Paris Fashion Week, the segment once reserved for her was replaced with Lady Louise Windsor, now celebrated for her poise and message of resilience and royalism. An internal leak from Meghan's own PR agency painted an even darker picture. The memo read bluntly, "We cannot rebuild while litigation, institutional bans, and custody losses dominate the narrative. We must go dark." And she did. Overnight, Meghan Markle vanished from the public sphere. Her social media accounts went silent. Her personal website redirected to a plain white page reading only, "Thank you for visiting." No new interviews were booked. No appeals were filed, no paparazzi sightings followed. For the first time in nearly a decade, Meghan Markle was not trending anywhere. At Sandringham, Princess Anne delivered the monarchy's final word through a simple press release that carried the weight of closure. The matter has closed, the children are safe, the future is guarded by principle, not power. We do not erase, we protect, we do not retaliate, we recover. May this silence serve the best interests of those who deserve peace most. That evening, Princess Catherine was seen visiting a children's hospice. She placed a small teddy bear on a bedside table, along with a handwritten note that read, "For every child who felt watched, let them now feel seen, with love, not strategy." The photograph spread quietly across news sites the next morning, not as breaking news, but as a moment of calm after chaos. The House of Windsor, shaken yet unbroken, had reasserted its core doctrine: duty before drama, protection over profit, legacy before ego. The monarchy had survived another storm, its walls intact, its image restored. As for Meghan Markle, her royal chapter was officially closed. There would be no redemption tour, no Netflix resurrection, no Duchess revival. Whatever legacy she had carved was now frozen in time, a cautionary tale of fame, family, and fallout. And Prince Harry? His story wasn't over, but for once, it was off camera. Whether his next chapter unfolds in quiet redemption or quiet resignation remains to be seen. One thing, however, is undeniable. The Sussex era is over. If you were gripped by this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment your thoughts below. What do you think the future holds for Harry, the children, and Meghan's next move? Let's hear it.